I want to kick it off with a heartwarming story that our president of New Horizons Career Development Solutions, Cindy Sutherland, has told me over and over again. You gotta tell Scott's story, and I want to share that with you because it's a great story, and it really emphasizes what we do here and the core of Career Development Solutions. So, Cindy, would you be able to share Scott's story?
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Scott Landry, I've been with New Horizons, by the way, for 14 years. I started out as an educational advisor, exact position that Sarah does, going to be presenting shortly. Back in 2007, Scott Landry had reached out to me. He was a box boy at Albertsons. I think he was about 22 years old at the time, and he wanted to get into IT. And at the time, we were trying to find a funding solution for him. All of a sudden, 2008 hit, much like where we're at right now. And there was the recession hit, and government funding became available. And Scott and I, for a good 12 months, were trying to figure out a way to fund his program. I found a funding solution for him because he was underemployed at the time as a part-time box boy, 23 years old. And I called him and I said, Scott, there's funding available. I can get you your training funded. You won't have to pay a dime. You won't have to pay back anything. So I introduced Scott to the Workforce Center. We got him in an entry-level IT program. And shortly after he graduated, he got a job as in a help desk position. His starting job, about $19 an hour. And about a year and a half went by, and all of a sudden, Scott got laid off from that position because the company outsourced overseas. So Scott called me and he said, Cindy, I got to find another job. My job was outsourced. And I said, Scott, if your job was outsourced overseas, the Trade Act funds training. Do you want to upgrade yourself? And he was like, oh, heck yes. So we put him in another training program that was funded through EDD, along with the Department of Labor, and we upped his IT skills. He got his second job after graduating. It was $32 an hour. So he really upgraded himself. He continued working for this company who did outsource IT, and he did it as a contractor for about 2 years. And one day he said, I could do this. I can do what this guy does. So he started out on his own. He started his own business as an IT support company. He started with a specialization, which was restaurant, because actually he knew people in the restaurant industry and worked in the restaurant industry. So he got all these contracts of restaurants and bars in Orange County. And he grew it, and he grew it, and he kept growing it. And today, Scott makes, I know that in 2019, he made $220,000 for the year. I asked him, Scott, how much do you work? And he says, I never put in 20 hours. He does outsource IT. He has contracts, and then when he has special projects, Jesse, he bills $165 an hour.
Wow.
So Scott, many years later, is doing extremely well. Now, sometimes he hires our students or uses them as contractors. It's just a really cool story. His brother Brett, I got him into IT also. He went down a different route. He's in IT sales, but his IT education helped him in IT sales. He's around $100,000 a year. Doesn't happen overnight. It's a short-term and a long-term plan. The name of Scott's company, if you want to Google him, it's called Landry IT. And I'm very, very proud.
Thanks, Cindy, for sharing that. I mean, that's fabulous. And the how, right? We want to know, how did he do it? Not only with taking that first step, working as at a grocery store, and that first step of, what, I'm going to choose a different career. I'm going to take the training necessary to get into that career, and from there, life throws whatever it throws at you, and as long as you're prepared to take those challenges on, I think everybody could surely have success. To talk about how you could gain new skills in a hot IT field using your current skill set, we have an education advisor, Sarah Olson, on the line, who is very experienced in taking and assessing people of all walks of life with all kinds of skills and trades, and really finding the right program and path to put them on to eventually lead to success. So Sarah, would you be able to take it away and share what careers after COVID look like?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on the webinar. Thank you everyone for coming and spending some time with us. This is something that I'm personally very passionate about. This is something that gets me up and going every single day, is to be able to support each and every one of you. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. When it comes to careers in any industry, right? And we're thinking about where you're coming from at this point, right? This is catered specifically to you. And we're thinking about all of those who have been impacted through retail and service industry and other industries as well, right? I mean, we've been hit across the board, and a lot of people affected, including yourselves, and including us, right? Our families, we see it everywhere. And so I put a lot of thought and a lot of love into this presentation, but when we're talking about retail and service industry, I wanted to look at some of the skills that you already have, because that's the biggest part of my role as an education advisor, is to be able to support you and see where you've been. So with that being said, customer service, you're people, right? You're talking to people all day, you're supporting, you're doing troubleshooting, you've got business awareness, you're aware of the products that you're working with. You do have some information technology skills, right? You've worked on cash registers, you've got some point of sale experience. Attention to detail is huge in your industries, and professionalism, working under pressure, right? That is not an easy skill to learn, and you have all managed it. So kudos to you for having that so far. But let's go ahead and talk about some skills that you can gain, right? Depending on what it is that you want to do, and IT is one, right? There are other industries that we're going to be talking about further down in the presentation. There are a few things that are going to support you to make that transition, right? Close the gap. And that is to gain some more computer skills, right? Know how to use Excel inside and out. Know how to use Outlook, know how to use Word. Then you go into your trade skills. So those are your specialty skills. So if you were to go into IT, getting a certification, if you were to go into office administration, getting a Microsoft Office Specialist certification, something that's going to tie you and sell yourself to an employer, right? Because that's what the resume is all about. How are they going to live without you is really what they should be asking themselves when they're looking at their resume. How have I gone so far without this person? And so we want to be able to help you with that. Interviewing skills are huge as well. We get nervous, right? And sometimes that does affect. So we want to make sure that we're giving you that practice. And we have partners that support with that. And we also have webinars that will support with that as well. And networking skills. Right now, it's a tough economy. So it's all about who you know, putting yourself out there, going and meeting people. Okay. So let's talk about some of the best practices to transition into a new career. So first things first, support, right? Reach out to your friends and family, reach out to your community, go on Facebook groups, go on LinkedIn groups, put yourself out there, make a few phone calls, call an old friend, tell them how you're doing. And of course, reach out to, an education advisor, reach out to people who are already working in this industry that have been doing it even when times were good. We have a lot of experience in this, and we can definitely support you. All right, so Going back to IT, and I have to give kudos to one of my colleagues. Her name's Tiffany David. She's the education advisor for Salt Lake City. She actually helped with this research. Okay, so about degrees versus certifications in the world of IT. Now, this is something that, or a very common question that I get, and I'm going to pull up my little statistics that I have out here, because a lot of people ask, well, do I need a degree? Is certification really going to do it? The short answer is yes. The long answer is, about 26% of IT workers hold a bachelor's degree or higher. So the rest of them have certification. Certification is king. A lot of the times I have seen personally where someone could have a master's degree and they move from one state to another, something like that, and they have such a hard time finding a job because, yes, they have a master's degree in computer science, but they don't have any certifications proving that they have the hands-on knowledge to be able to troubleshoot that technology, depending on what they're working on. And so I see this time and time again. And then 69% of CompTIA certification candidates don't hold a 4-year degree. CompTIA are vendor neutral IT certification. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And so when you look at jobs, you're going to see the company's wish list, right? You're going to see that they want a degree. You're going to see that they want certifications, but they're going to pick the most highly qualified person that fits not only with the certifications, but the corporate culture. So yes, I do believe that degrees are valuable. However, to get your foot in the door, you don't necessarily need it. Now, when you eventually want to go into management or something like that, that's when you want to start thinking about a degree. And then I also want to talk about funding options, right? We're all on hard times right now. So I've got 2 funding options available, and I'll talk about a few more. But we do have a partner called Climb Credit, and this is a short-term student loan financer. So student loans range from about 4 to 5 years, which is a lot shorter than a Sally Mae or something like that. And so since it is short term, they're basing it on the income that you will be making as well. So it's really helpful, and it's an easy program. It doesn't count against your credit to apply. It only counts to your credit once you've been approved for that program. And we have them for select programs for office administration, project management, IT. So it's a wide range, and it's pretty simple process. So if that's something that you would like to discuss more and chat about, we would be more than happy to talk to you about that option. Okay. And then we have another option. It's something called WIOA, and there are different providers throughout each state, and they have different names, but essentially what it is, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. And what it does is it's put in place to support the local economy, and jobs that are in need, right, where they're having low employment and there is work, they are going to support with training. They're going to support with your resume. They're going to support you with your interviewing. They're going to do everything it takes to be able to support you to transition into that career. So if you're really passionate about something, they will pay for your training. I've seen them even pay for rent abatement. I've seen them pay for interviewing clothes, right? You have support available to you. And because you're an American citizen and you're a taxpayer, you have that available to you. And it's really cool. It's like the best kept secret. So many people don't know about it, but it's amazing. I cannot say enough about WIOA. And so there's a few ways for you to apply for that. And there's a few things, a few questions that I commonly get. So how long does it take? It's really going to depend, okay? And it's ultimately going to depend on you. So once you start working with a WIOA partner, it can be as quick as a month for funding, or it can be 6 months. but they ask for documentation, right? They're going to ask you for your ID. They're going to ask you for your social security card and proof of income and things like that. And if you don't get that to them in a sufficient amount of time, what's going to happen, right? It's just like anyone else that's being stringed along. They're going to go, oh, they'll get it later. They're going to put it off. If you take it seriously, I have seen like week-long turnarounds. I have. Now, those were very special circumstances, very special cases, but it is possible. Okay. And then, so who decides which applicants are served by WIOA? That's going to be up to the WIOA partner. Some of them are called One Stop. We have some locations they're called Join, Arizona at Work. I mean, the list goes on, but they ultimately decide if you are going to qualify, and they have a list of qualifications that will get you eligible. Okay. And if you're certified, are you guaranteed services for WIOA? If you are training to get a job, then yes. If you are training just for fun, no. Right. So you've got to make sure that your goals are in alignment with the partner, right? Their goal is for you to get working in the field. Okay. And if you want to learn more about WIOA, you can call us and we will actually refer you to a WIOA partner. That's the best way to do it right now, since so many locations are closed to the public. All right, and how New Horizons can help, right? How can we help you? So this is our typical placement process, okay? This is our process throughout the board. So it's very straightforward, very simple. Of course, there's going to be a lot of communication in between. But if we look at it, the first thing is a career assessment. So what a career assessment is that we're going to spend a half an hour to an hour and a half with you. We always schedule an hour and a half, but that's usually, I'd say for special cases, usually an hour. We can really dig deep and figure out what it is that you're passionate about, so that we can go on to phase 2, which is to build and develop a training program, right? And so that training program is going to be based on your background and what you want to do and how we can marry those two so that you can move forward and live your dreams, okay? And then we've got career training, okay? So that's the training portion, right? So where you're going to be having live classes with an instructor. Right now we're doing our classes from home. Your instructor is still live though. Your instructor can see everything that you're doing too. So it's very hands-on. And then we've got placement assistance. So we do have a small placement team, but we also rely very heavily on our partners with WIOA because that's what they're really good at, right? But we do have a placement department as well. All right, and so going further into the programs that we have. Now, we have a variety, and I'm going to go in a little bit deeper to each of these, but just to generalize, we have office administration, project management, and then you're going to see a whole bunch of IT. So we have like data analysis, networking, cybersecurity, database, servers, and development. All right, so going into office administration programs. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with office administration, right? And so we always like to start with end goal, right? That's the whole point of our career assessments. We start with your end goal and then we figure out how to fill in that knowledge gap to get you to be where you're going. And so that can be a variety of things. I mean, it can be office clerks, it can be admin, operations specialists. But if you think about it, just about anyone that works any type of job needs some form of office admin skills. So when I think about that, that could be anyone in management, that could be sales, that could be, you know, what we do, education administration, all different types of things. And so it's almost like a basic qualification in order to be successful in the modern day workplace. Okay. And then project management. So project management are like the leaders of your program, your job, right? They're the leaders. And so when you think about that, they are doing special projects, and it's anything from quality control to analysis. There's project managers for IT companies, casinos. I'm from Las Vegas, so I had to throw the casinos in there, right? And then you also have like construction industry. And so, when you first go into a project management role, if it's something that you don't have a background in, you would be working under a project manager and supporting them with their administration duties and whatnot, okay? And then IT programs. So we have a variety of IT programs. And so, systems administration is working on servers. Going into cybersecurity is definitely a great long-term goal. There is an entry-level route to go where you become a generalist before you specialize, but we can work out the long-term goal just like Cindy did with Scott, right? So the thing is that you've got to start somewhere. And so you'll be starting with help desk, right? So troubleshooting computers and printers and cell phones and tablets, the list goes on. Networking fundamentals, security fundamentals, that you can get an entry-level role. And I will say that a lot of my students, I called all of my prior students as soon as everyone had to start working from home. They were all working from home, right? Because they already had this foundational skills and they had certifications to back it up. And then you'll start specializing in that servers or network or data, so there's so many different ways that you can go in the world of IT. And then these are some of the jobs that students have gotten with us in the recent past. So we've got Raytheon and Warner Brothers. How cool would that be? And Spectrum. We've got Zion's Bank, and the list goes on.
Thanks, Sarah, for sharing. Before I jump into how people can take that next step in connecting with us and how to get that Amazon gift card via the referral program, I want to make sure that we can answer any questions that you have. The chat box is open. Sarah and Cindy are both on the line. We'll go ahead and field your questions. One that I wanted to clarify, when we talked about funding sources, WIOA is a government-funded program. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is a government-funded program.
Okay. And what does the process usually look like as far as applying? What kind of paperwork would you need to make that first application?
So the process differs by location. So it's always best to take it up with an education advisor local to that area. But I will say that they're going to be taking some general documents from you, and you're going to develop a plan with them. So they're going to do something, now I know in Las Vegas, they call it an individual employment plan. And they're going to do something much similar to what we do here at New Horizons. And they're going to look at your background, and they're going to look at where you want to go, and they're going to see if that's a reasonable and attainable goal and how to get you there.
Sounds like it's really focused on the job, right? Being the end goal.
Yes, the job is always the end goal.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead and drop any questions that you have either in the chat, or I'll go ahead and pull up the Q&A. What would be the first step in dealing with New Horizons to help get them started with any sort of career plan?
So the first step would be, there's a few ways that you can go about it. Of course, I always say give us a call. Not everyone is a social butterfly like I am, though. So they can go on our website, careerdevelopmentsolutions.com, and they can fill out a form on our website.
Perfect. careerdevelopmentsolutions.com. Doesn't look like we have too many questions, which sounds like, Sarah, you did an excellent job at explaining hot careers after COVID. Is there a testimonial or a student story that you want to share that's kind of recent in mind? I know that you've had a lot of students go through, come to us via Facebook, or they found us online and have kind of been, after this recession hit, have there been any stories that you want to share?
Yeah, so I've got two that I'm torn about, but I'll give you one that comes to mind because I spoke with them on LinkedIn recently.
Yeah.
And so he's a unique case. So he is what you consider a post-release background. Okay. So he got into some trouble when he was a kid, and it was about 10 years, and he was just getting fly-by-night jobs, construction work, warehouse work. And so he came to me actually through one of my WIOA partners, Goodwill of Southern Nevada, actually. And we took a chance on him, and we gave him an IT program, and he passed all of his training. He did A+, Network Plus, Security Plus. Yes, I remember all of this because I love my students, okay? Nice. And he ended up getting a networking job for a territory for Best Buy. And he is doing amazing. He has a family. He doesn't, live in the center of town anymore. He's got a nice big house, and it's just really amazing to be able to see someone turn that corner. And, it makes me want to cry a little bit, because it's like we were the first ones to really believe in him. And so to be able to see that is amazing. It's just absolutely amazing to be able to see someone go through that and make it out on the other side.
Huge shout out to Goodwill across the different territories that we are in. I know that there are some people on the call who come from there, and it's amazing how those stories are real. Our stories from however we got into the career that we have are personal, and each student that comes through training at New Horizons Career Development Solutions is a personal story, and we take it personally. So when you work with our education advisors, like Sarah, I'm giving you a little time to recover because that was such an emotional story.
It was.
I think you're gonna feel that personal touch when you work with an education advisor. So if you want to connect with us, I'm going to throw up the connecting slide here on Facebook. We have all our social media. LinkedIn, if you're not on LinkedIn and you're looking for work, it's a hot social media to be able to connect with employers, connect with working professionals. There's a new feature that you can use the hashtag open to work, and people can find you that you're open to work. And if they're looking for somebody with your skill set, that they can, reach out to you, direct message you. Of course, Twitter and Instagram, we are on as well. When you reach out to us at careerdevelopmentsolutions.com, like Sarah said, you can fill out a form and get in touch with an education advisor. If you do want to chat in the box, I'll go ahead and answer a couple of questions. But if you want to chat that you want somebody to reach out to you, we'll go ahead and get an education advisor reaching out to you today. So if you are really looking to take that first step, and we don't want to create any friction, sending you to the website, social media, whatever, if you're here right now, we want to give you priority attention. Go ahead and use the chat box or the Q&A, say where you're at, city and state, and that you want an education advisor to reach out to you. We'll go ahead and get somebody on the line. Anne said, I work with a program that connects youth to training and employment. Should the youth connect first with you or with the WIOA provider? Sounds like a similar story with the youth that you were talking about.
Yeah, so I always recommend to talk with the school first. The reason being is because we're going to be able to start with that career research phase, right, before they get to WIOA. So it's actually going to make the process smoother for the youth. That's very common because a lot of youth, they have an idea of what they want to do, right? But they don't quite know what that even is yet. So we can take that first step to be able to support them with that research.
And then David, hi David, I've seen you in the chat. You are asking, do you have a program for IC3 certification? Sounds pretty specific.
So I know I don't in Nevada. Cindy, any other states have IC3?
I think the different certifications and programs vary by location.
Okay.
So I'd want to make sure that for specific programs, we'll have, David, we'll have an education advisor reach out to you in your area to verify. So if you could just let us know your city and state, we'll have somebody reach out about the specific programs that you're looking to pursue. Thomas, welcome back. Glad to see you there. And somebody's asking if there was a lot of information, and I didn't expect you all to take notes as frivolously as fast as we went. I will get this emailed out to you. We'll have our sales admin, Terry Mott, send this out to you this week. So you'll be able to have access to the slides. You'll have access to the recording. And then any of the story about Scott Landry, we'll give you a link so you can read more about his story and success, and other supportive links such as to the WIOA fundings in your area, how to schedule an appointment with a career development solutions advisor. So I know the moment we've all been waiting for is to talk about the referral program. So if you know somebody that is unemployed or a dislocated worker, or anybody really that is eligible for career training, and eligible, I mean, they want it, right? The goal in mind here is to get a job, a career. Maybe it's different than the one you have now. You can be working. Anybody who's interested in career training, if you make a referral and that person enrolls and starts class, you'll get the $100 Amazon gift card sent straight to you as soon as they start class. So they don't even have to finish. We just want to make sure that we get them in a class. That's limit 1 per year, but you can refer as many people as you want. And the URL is going to be in the email that I sent to you afterwards. That's careerdevelopmentsolutions.com/referrals. So I'll drop that in careerdevelopmentsolutions.com/referrals. And then I'll email that out as well, so you'll have that link to make a referral. So anybody that you want to refer, you can submit, add more people. The more people that you refer, obviously, the more chances are that you'll get the gift card, because not everybody signs up if it's not for them. But we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to share this information with your family, friends, and maybe even previous coworkers that you were all laid off together. Hey, let's do training together, right? It's a lot easier when you have accountability partners to help you stay true to your goals. I have a couple questions that just came in last minute. If I'm working with a One-Stop Connect, what programs would be covered in Nevada? So Matthew, it sounds like, Sarah, you'll be reaching out to Matthew.
Yes. Yes. So I'll go ahead and reach out to you, Matthew, and we'll discuss. I actually have you in here, so we'll chat further. I think.
Okay. So expect a call from Sarah pretty shortly after this. We have Kevin saying, I'm transitioning from the military back into the civilian workforce. Making a path and employment goals is challenging. Any recommendations to help me focus? Hey, Cindy, would you be able to have any recommendations for transitioning military?
Absolutely. This is Kevin, correct?
Yes, Kevin Hazard.
Okay, so Kevin, the perfect program for you to start in is the same one Scott started in. A+, Net+, Security+, and Cloud+. It gives you 4 certification paths, and the paths are approved for the entry-level Tech Level 1 to work with the DoD. So I'm not saying that's the only route you could go, but the DoD does love hiring veterans, and having that security clearance along with IT certifications that covers the DoD 8515 initiative is just money for your future. It's a great way to start. And what city do you live in, Kevin? I can't see.
Kevin, if you want to answer what city and state are you in, we can have some more information specific to your area. I think, Cindy, that's a great point about bridging. He's in Temecula, bridging that security clearance, the experience that you have in the military into the civilian workforce. Those certifications married with your background are really key.
So Kevin, if you want to call me directly, I'll even coach you, or I'll get you in touch with either Darwin, Don, or Greg. Are you a Marine?
What branch of the military, Kevin? And then we have somebody else. Yes, yep. Spectacular, USMC.
Yeah,
right?
They like to live in Temecula. I could get you. Greg's a Navy guy, and I know you won't hold that against him, but I can introduce you to Greg.
Perfect. Connections happening live on the spot. I love it. Thank you, Cindy, for offering your time to Kevin. We'll get in touch with you and then somebody else in San Bernardino. LG Stylo in San Bernardino, could you give us your name? I'm not seeing a name on your Zoom or email address so that we can know who it is that we need to reach out to in San Bernardino. Elise, thank you so much for the kudos on the presentation. That is our number directly. If you need any help, one-stop email for getting in contact with us is our sales admin, Terry Mott. So that's tmott@nhlearninggroup.com. And again, careerdevelopmentsolutions.com /referral. If you want to make a referral, we'll send an email out. So make sure you check your email. You need to jump into the spam box. The email is coming from Terry Mott or some of the promotional ones. You want to make sure that you move that into your general inbox so that you can get information about that. Perfect. We have that, Michelle, and we'll get in touch with you in San Bernardino. So if there's no further questions or chat comments, we'll hang out for another 60 seconds and answer anybody else. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you to the rest of the attendees. We appreciate your time, and we hope we serviced you correctly.